at the time the opportunity to switch over?
For me, it all happened kind of at the same time. I actually wasn't ready to retire when I did. I was still playing. I had been dropped by the team that I essentially created to make it back through Pro League. We had gotten knocked out from a stipulation rule. I don't know if you're familiar with ESL too much, but they have a rule called 3 of 5. Yep. And basically, like from season to season, you have to keep at least 3 of your 5 roster to be able to go into the next season. And it's, without getting too complicated, basically we went through like a lull season where that's where you're doing the invite quals and stuff like that. Well, the roster I went through invite quals with met 3 of 5 for this previous season, but I didn't know that the next season coming up didn't matter what you brought to SI. It had to be for the season before that, which was like 6 months prior. And so we like lost our 3 of 5, or we had to bring back players we didn't want to play with. So we lost Pro League qualifications, and we had to go back through Challenger League, which we did. We went right back through it with a team I made, and then they wanted to continue without me after that. I was 28 at the time, and so I was like, well, I'm not done. I'm going to do it again. So then I made another Challenger League team, qualified like the very first week. There was a tournament to qualify, and we won that. And like if you win the first one, you're straight through at that time. So we won that. We were straight through. I was going to play Challenger League again, and a player on Spacestation Gaming, they just signed with them, DM'd me and was like, hey, I don't know if you're interested in coaching. I know that you're still doing the Challenger League thing and trying to like make your way back up. He said he knew that I was really like smart and I understood the game, and he was just kind of like interested in see what I thought about it. And at the time, I never even thought about coaching. I was just still like, I want to compete. I want to play. You know, I just want to like, get back to Pro League and all that stuff. And kind of like hit me and took me back. And I was like, well, I've never thought about that. So I talked to the wife about it. I took, I think it was 3 days where I just kind of like randomly brought it up every once in a while to my wife. And for me, pretty much, when you start getting a lot older, it's really hard to play at the highest level, just purely because of reaction time. And so basically to be able to make up for the fact that you're older, you have to practice more. And that was taking a toll on me because I was at school at the time. So I was putting in a ton of hours into the game, a ton of hours into my school. I was trying to spend as much time with my family as I could, but like scrims and matches as well. And I just was like, I think it's time for me to hang it up and give a go at coaching. And I fell in love with it right away. So I was really glad that it all kind of happened at the same time.
Yeah, and so we talked briefly, but I'm a high school esports coach, and right now my players are mainly heavy on 2K and Madden, and I'm selling them slowly but surely on R6. And so I wanted to ask you, like, how did you create that winning culture at SSG, like when you first got there?
I'm a very competitive person. I played traditional sports growing up, and I've always been my dad was just a huge sports fanatic, so I've always been around competing no matter what, board games, video games, like as a family. So I have my mom and my dad, and then I have 2 other siblings. We would play Mario Kart, and we only had 4 controllers, so the loser had to pass the sticks.
Pass the controller, yeah. Like
from an early age, I've always been like, when you do something, you do it like the best you can, and you try to win. And there's that mentality, like whether I know that seems really simple, but honestly, that mentality in esports is not there at like a high level. If you ever were playing football and you scrimmed, like I didn't actually scrim that much when I played football. Like it was rare when you like got a team like that was practicing on the same field at the same time as you. You usually just practiced and did your drills or whatever. But if there was like a team there, you'd go over and ask them to scrim. Like you didn't lollygag or do whatever. Like you tried to beat that team even though it was just practice. Like it was in traditional sports, like when you scrim, like, you're trying to beat that team. Like, you don't know who they are and you want to win. But, like, in esports, for whatever reason, when, like, you show up to scrims, it's like, oh, it's just a scrim. Like, who cares who wins? Like, I'm trying to practice. Like, the mindset of, like, esports is just so different than traditional sports. So I just brought over my mindset. It's like, I know this is a scrim. I know this is a practice, but who cares? We're beating these people every time, and we're going to try as hard as we can. And, like, you know, if you play at that high level and you're always trying to win, even though it's just a scrim, then when it comes to match time, like, the small things that you do in matches become so much easier because you're used to doing them so much more in practice.
Wow, that's amazing, man. And so, you know, the next coaching question is, qualities do you look for in players, and how often, you know, you guys practice? Like, what's that schedule? Because I want to give insight on, like, what it is to be not only a coach, but the schedule as far as being a professional player, if you want to go this route.
What I look for, obviously raw skill is very important. And just like someone that has put in time, I think that's really important to me. Someone who's not really just like playing the game because they know they're good at it, but someone who just like has this dire desire to like play and be the best and like continue to be better. All my guys, we like actually are huge ranked players. We love to play ranked all the time. But there's some players on other teams who just like, you know, they show up for their scrims and their matches because they know they're good at the game and it's a way to make a living. But I like to have players on my team who want to play the game and want to always get better and are looking to like, they have that like next level kind of motivation. After that, big thing for me is teamwork. Because, you know, you can always find players who can make those clutch plays, or they have that ability to overcome odds or whatever, but those kind of things are few and like they don't happen all the time. Like even though you're really good, that doesn't mean every round you're gonna like 1v3 or something. Like, you know, you'll still die. So I look for players who have really good teamwork and like really good communication, and you know, you can teach them like how to go that next level and start making plays. A really good example is Rampy on our team. Rampy, the first couple seasons, he statistically did not do very well, and I just coached him every day. Like he would have scrims, and then the next day at 10 a.m. we'd both wake up and we would go over the scrim pods, and I would just brutally pick at each mistake he would make. And we just slowly, like, you know, improved his game, and now he's ranked number 2 in the entire world. So,
that's amazing.
You know, like, just like as long as you have that dedication, you know, the willingness to like wake up and be better, you know, stuff like that will happen for you. It's just like, you know, he for me, his communication's always been top tier. It was just like he was making mistakes at the high level, and we just slowly fixed all of those kind of things, and he kind of opened his eyes to like different ideas than what he just was doing himself, but like what he could like achieve. And I really do I love team players who don't bait, people who are willing to you know, there's out there like a big joke is Castle, for example. He has the ump, and the ump is a terrible gun in the game statistically. It shoots really slow, and players who are willing to play like Pulse and Castle because they know that operator will like fill in the strat and help you win rounds, but they know that you probably will like only get 1 or 2 kills maybe. Those kind of players, I love those players. Those are my kind of players.
Yeah. I totally agree. You know, go ahead.
As far as the scrim schedule goes, we're on the very extreme side, even for Rainbow. And a lot of we used to get a lot of I don't even know. Basically, people thought that we don't do it right, and so during the season, we did typical seasons. Our matches on Monday and Wednesday for North American players. We practice every other day. We don't take a day off during the season. So Monday and Wednesday we have games, and then like Tuesday and then Wednesday through Sunday or Thursday through Sunday we scrim every single day. And a typical scrim is 4 hours. And then usually on Thursday we also do what's called we call it game prep, and during that our analysts and I sit down and we talk to the guys about the games that will be going on next Monday and Wednesday. We do both preps at the same time. And so then they know from Thursday to Sunday what maps we're going to prepare for. During those before those maps starts for script, we'll give them reminders on this is what we want to ban, this is what the team likes to do. Remember, try to do this. We'll run these variations, and for example, if a team cafe, if they like to do a turtle for their basement one, we'll do a full map clear, because the full map clear will be very easy. There's no resistance. So you can take full top control and then just push down and basically pinch them down there. So we'll tell them let's practice our full clear. On both sides of the basement, it will be ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
No, I was just saying you can get them and trap them down in their basement from all sides, and it's game over. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll tell them what they like to run, and then which one of our strats works the best against it. So they kind of have a really good idea of, when game time comes, we've already practiced that strat whatever amount of times. So they're more used to it.
Yeah. My wife tells me all the time, perfect practice makes perfect. So I don't think you're doing it wrong, man. You guys actually won the last invitational, and got to hold up that trophy together, man. And besides coaching, what other opportunities has esports opened for you?
Now I'm looking into a lot of different things that I didn't even realize. I went right out of the Navy. I went back to school, got my degree in software engineering, and I just assumed that once I was kind of done with games, I was going to find a job and just start working for a company, building software and doing databases and stuff like that. I just figured I'd go right into my degree. But now with working with orgs and working with the game developers and stuff like that, I've definitely opened up some doors as far as it goes for maybe even the management side of an organization, or even working for a game as a community manager, or what I'd really love to do is something like game balancing for, a big game company like Ubisoft, Blizzard, Riot, something like that, where you can put your opinions in as a pro player, basically at the ground floor. You can tell them this is not smart, or this kind of buff or nerf would really help, or stuff like that. I feel like I have a lot of experience, and I'd never even really thought that was a possibility before. But just as a coach, people I get questions from the game developer hey, we were thinking about this or this, what's your opinion on it? And I never thought that a door like that would open to me, so I've started looking into stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. We have less than a minute left in the show, man. I appreciate you coming on. I know you didn't have to. I know you have a busy schedule and a family and everything. So I thank you for coming on and blessing the show. You want to plug your social media or talk about briefly what Space Station has coming up as far as R6?
We got a match tonight, actually. We play against Dark Zero, which is a big game. We are tied for number 2 in North America on the online season right now. So whoever wins that or whatever will take that full number 2 spot. Other than that, you guys can reach me on Twitter. That's where I'm most active, at Lycan. And other than that, man, Rainbow Six is growing. It's huge. We have the big next season coming. There's huge transitions into Rainbow Six, and we're there the whole way.